Hi there. In this video, we're going to be talking about revising at the sentence level, right? So this is like the little stuff in the sense that it's not like major components of the essay, but sentence structures, syntax, word choice, diction, that sort of thing. And so for looking at the little stuff, you want to be paying attention to like grammatical errors and sentence structures. One way to do this is to look at your sentences individually and not in relation to one another. When you read your essay like this, you're just kind of going with the flow, right? You're going to just kind of gloss over maybe some grammatical errors or punctuation or problem areas. If you think of times when you used to read out loud in class, right? Like you'd be following along and a student would be reading and they'd make a mistake and they might not even have noticed, right? They would just keep going. And you, as just following along, like you notice that they said the wrong word or they like skipped a line or something, but they're just like so caught up in what they're trying to say that they didn't even notice they made a mistake. And that's the same when you read your own essay, right? Like you're reading it, you know what's going to come next, you've spent so much time writing it that you're so focused on it that you will probably just gloss over some of the mistakes in your essay. So one way to ensure that you really slow down and look at sentences on their own is to read your essay backwards. And I don't mean like just individual words, right? Because that wouldn't make sense. But to start with the last sentence and then to read that on its own. So in this case, the last sentence of this essay is, all people should start to seize the moment, enjoy your family, be happy with your job, be glad you are able to own your own stuff with your hard work, and appreciate everything you have. Let this be your American dream. All right, so just reading this last sentence, there's like that sticking point, right? You could hear me kind of jumble over some of the words. Be glad you're able to own your own stuff. That's a little like awkward phrasing. That's an area that I would revise. Then the next part, well, you just go to the next sentence. Economic issues can't hold back on people's American dream. That's another area where I'd be like, okay, maybe we can improve that by saying can't hold back people's American dream, right? So you just kind of scratch that out. Many people are experiencing the American dream, so it's not dead like the liberals discuss. That sentence seems fine to me. The American dream is more alive than ever. Seems fine. The American dream is not about the economic status like many people might think. Many say the American dream is becoming just that, a dream, with little chance of realization. But that is not true. Seems fine. So you can see that reading it backwards, it takes each sentence out of context and it really allows you to look at the sentences on their own. And so that's one way that you can make sure that you are slowing down enough to look at the grammar. Another example would be to read out loud. That's like just a process that I went through with you. Obviously, I read it out loud. Reading out loud allows you to hear it rather than see it, and it can help you point out like issues, right? You can see when I tripped over that own your own stuff, right? Maybe when you're reading it, you know, it doesn't really stand out at all, but saying it out loud, you can kind of see how it's a little bit of a sticking point. The next thing that you can do is pay attention to repetition of words or phrases you might want to mix up, right? When you're reading it out loud, you'll start to hear like American dream, American dream, American dream, American dream, and you're like, okay, I say this every sentence. I need to start switching these things up. One way to do that would be to do control on your keyboard. You hit the control key and then the F key, and that will pull up this navigation tool here. And you can search the document. So you can type in a word and it will tell you every place that you say the word dream. And you can see already that there is a lot of places, right? So this paragraph has a lot. This paragraph area has a lot. This section has a lot, right? So that can kind of point out areas that you might want to revise. So that Control F feature is really useful. I'll put that in the notes here. Look for grammar and spelling errors, and then check out MLA formatting. That's one of the little things that's actually important. So with this essay, the student included a huge gap between their name and the title. You do not need any gaps, so you would just delete that. They also included a larger title. The title should be the same Times New Roman font. It doesn't need to be a different size. It's just right at the top there. And again, no spaces in between. So the last thing you can do is kind of check that MLA formatting and see where you're at. In terms of the citations, the student did a really great job. So in-text citations look good. And that's some of the stuff that you want to focus on for when we talk about the little stuff here. We talk about looking at grammar, we look at sentence structure. Again, this takes a long time, it does, but it's one of the things that you want to do at the very end. Once you've looked at the big stuff, you're keeping everything, you're not deleting any paragraphs. Sorry. Thanks. That's when you want to start looking at the small stuff. Let me know if you guys have any questions.